26 years ago, my eldest son, Danny, was about to enter kindergarten. And the whole community that we lived in at that time, Jamaica Estates, was a community where most people went to a particular school, a very prominent school, a wonderful school. We were having some difficulty with in terms of the other school, and we thought that it would be better for us to do something different. One of our friends had an uncle who was living in New Hyde Park. He was the rabbi of that community, Rabbi Belitsky, and he was interested in starting a yeshiva.
The original idea and the dream of my having a yeshiva here was to have a yeshiva for students in our community not having to pay the bus transportation.
And a lot of things happened simultaneously to help that dream come true.
My wife Ada turned to me and she said, "Oh, you want to do something different? Okay, big shot. What are you going to do?" And I said to her, "Well, why don't we start our own school?" And we sat down in the kitchen of our home and we said, "Well, what do we need to start a school?"
If I would have known how difficult the task was going to be, I would never have gone into it. Thank God I didn't know, and in my ignorance, I just forged ahead.
We called our friends, asked them if they would be interested in helping us begin a school.
A group of people got together and divided up the work, found a building, hired a principal, hired teachers, and put together a day school.
Har Torah became a reality.
And if I remember correctly, the night before the first day of school, we sat in a board meeting, not really knowing if the school was going to open the next morning. But lo and behold, it did. And
the rest is history. Cut. What else do I say?
Rabbi Belitsky became the first dean of the school, and he was the rabbinic leader of the school with the proper hashkafa.
And I think we started with 19 students.
We were in one building. It kind of, if you closed your eyes, it looked like a building. It had classrooms, it had staircases, it had a lunchroom.
Rabbi Silberstein led the school for about 8 years. And then he decided he wanted to move on, and we were now without a principal.
I vividly remember my first meeting at the home of Dov and Ada Berkowitz. I flew in from St. Louis. I had been principal of the Block Yeshiva High School for 10 years.
When we met Rabbi Menschel for the first time, we knew we found the right person for the position.
It became apparent within moments the quality of this man, the character of this man.
And knew that he would make an outstanding menahel for the school.
From that point on, I felt a special connection.
More and more communities heard of us. They came to us.
As school grew, we then branched off into 2 separate buildings. That was a huge challenge.
It was clear to us that the facility was an integral part of the process of educating our children.
I remember walking into what was really the equivalent of a boiler room. Very dark, a lot of dark pipes, but the warm, friendly feeling that I got there was something that I held on to for a long time.
The school needed help. It didn't have the resources, the money needed to really hire a full staff. So parents, whenever they could, including helping out in the lunchroom or helping out with extracurricular activities, got involved.
Rabbi Menschel was trying to run 2 separate campuses from one location. Neither campus had the proper facilities for a proper day school, proper yeshiva. So we really needed our own home.
We realized that it was time to find a building to house all the children.
The Balabatim who were with me saw that I was shaken because of the toll that it was taking on me. And it was that night, I'll never forget this, A.B. Herkman told me that, Rabbi Menschel, we will build Yeshiva Har Torah's building.
I raised my hand reluctantly and took it upon myself to volunteer. Although you get a sense or a high at that first moment, when you come back and tell your wife, you wonder, what did I just do?
We first found a facility on Northern Boulevard. At the time it was called the Eutectic Building. After a short while we realized that was not the right location for the school, and a few of us then went out to purchase some attached houses right near the Young Israel of New Hyde Park. We realized that was not going to work.
One day I received a phone call from a local politician's office
that a site near Little Neck Parkway and the Grand Central Parkway is for sale.
Erwin and I ran to this auction on a Friday afternoon. I remember it vividly.
and they accepted our bid.
But unfortunately, we didn't have enough certified checks available to us at the time to place the deposit, which was the rule. We approached the judge and he said, I'll give you till 3:30.
The court gave us 30 minutes to run to the bank and get the deposit necessary to secure the building. Erwin and I really didn't know how we were going to come up with that money when we walked into Chase, but between my account and whatever else the school had at the time, we managed to put the money together.
They ran back to City Hall, they gave the check, and the building was ours. Truly miraculous.
It was extremely, extremely difficult to get ready for that opening day, for the first day of school, when the building was completed. The road was still muddy, nothing was perfect, many classrooms still needed furniture, yet the sight of our children walking to our own building is something that I can never forget, and I can't compare it to anything that I've ever done in my life. I must tell you, I was standing there with Rabbi Minshel, and tears were coming down my eyes.
Well, as they say, success builds success. And so we opened our building about 9 years ago, and immediately our enrollment perked up. And our 2 classes per grade were filled, and we needed more space.
When we built this building, it was 350 students. Basically, it then started to grow, and we had about over 500 students.
So we decided, with the pushing and prodding of Alan Steinberg and his friend Harvey Cayley, that we need to really focus on growing our school and be able to serve more children. So we decided to build a 3rd floor.
What I thought was going to be a smaller project turned out to be a very difficult project, because building a school building by itself is difficult. Adding a 3rd floor without closing the school was a challenge. And now that we have the 3rd floor, we allowed the school to grow, where we're now every year we're going to have 3 classes per grade. Now we have approximately 600 students, and in another year or 2 we're going to be completely filled with 612 students. Pretty an amazing thing, considering that for the first 15 years of our existence we didn't even have our own facilities, and now we have this beautiful 80,000 square foot state-of-the-art building that we're all very proud of.
And the building's really important to us. I know it's important to many of the parents, but really what happens within the 4 walls of the building is really what makes this place special.
What draws, I would say, many of the families to Yeshiva Har Torah is Rabbi Minshel.
The day that I knew I had made the right decision was a day early in the school year. My daughter Dina had just started kindergarten. Elizabeth was in 3rd grade. I came to school to pick them up at dismissal time. And I saw Dina coming out with her kindergarten class, and it appeared that she saw me and started to run toward me. But she wasn't running toward me, she ran past me, because behind me was Rabbi Minshel. She grabbed onto his legs and gave him this huge hug. And I was a little apprehensive. I was wondering, how was he going to respond? It was his first year here, probably a few weeks on the job with the kids. And he responded by giving her a big hug right back. And at that point, I knew I had sent my kids to the right place, because this is the kind of environment I wanted them to be in, where they felt loved and they felt cared for. And I think they did.
My nachas and pride is that every time I pass the building, I just cannot believe it's some sort of mirage, some sort of dream that's, if I wake up, I don't know if it'll still be there, but I just can't imagine the success that the Yeshiva Har Torah achieved under the leadership of the Menahel.
There really are not enough words to talk about Rabbi Minshel. He takes into account the whole child, the whole family, and the whole environment.
I am certain right now that Rabbi Minshel is the premier Menahel in the United States. We are very fortunate that he is at Yeshiva Har Torah.
I think the reason we do any of the things that we do with regard to the school is because we do it for our kids. And I felt that I had the opportunity to do things for my children as well as other people's children, so that I would be able to certainly reap the benefits of what people had done before for my kids, and I would sort of be able to pay it forward so that I could do things to help the next generation of kids coming into Yeshiva Har Torah.
People are calling up with two-year-old children, 3-year-old children. How do they guarantee a seat for their child in Yeshiva Har Torah? That's the reputation that Yeshiva Har Torah has.
In my wildest dreams, I wouldn't think that what we started years ago would be the success that it is today.
My children would come home from school at the end of June and they'd be actually crying on the bus. When I was a kid, I was happy. And in September, they would be happy, and in September, I'd be crying. My kids loved the school, and they loved what was going on here.
Most of my kids' teachers came to their weddings. It's not just, you're my first grade teacher and now I'm going to second grade. You are a part of my life. You left a big imprint on my soul, and you're always going to be somebody who's a part of my family forever. Yeshiva Har Torah really is a family.
Yeshiva Har Torah is, Rabbi Menchel,
The place where kids love to come.
The kind of place that encourages students to be the best that they can be,
Yeshiva Har Torah
Is a family.
Where you can make your dreams come true.
no matter what that means for them.
Nothing is unattainable.
Yeshiva Har Torah is helping build the future of the Jewish community. And I invite everyone, every one of you, to take the opportunity to get more involved in whatever way you can to try to make a difference in your children's lives and your children's education. And Amir Tzah Hashem, the best is yet to come. Thank you all.